based on the research.
Thank you very much. Before I answer that, please allow me to just reinforce what some of the outstanding women on this panel have been saying, that it's very obvious that when we talk about DEI, that's when they bring all the ladies together. But again, if we do not have the ears of senior management who are making the decision, then we're just talking to ourselves and just sharing information with you on a day where we probably have not much, not much else to do. And sitting here and looking out into the audience, you asked me to speak about my personal journey. First thing I must say is I noticed that we have a majority of the IOCs here, Chevron, Total, NLNG, and IOC as well, and SNEFCO. And then you have the representative of the local indigenous EMP, ND Western. And we have, and I believe we have a significant role to play at this point in the industry. The IOCs, as you've heard, have very developed, very mature processes that they've put in place to address DEI. The local, indigenous companies who are new into this space, I think, have even more of a responsibility, because we're uniquely positioned to be a bit more dynamic, to be different, and think outside the box. And we've heard a lot about DEI from the HR position, from talent management, talent development, resourcing. But when we come back to the contracting and procurement space, which shines light on entrepreneurship, we have a role to play, because we can do things and look at processes or look at strategies that have not been done before in the Nigerian oil and gas. And I mentioned that earlier when I said we need to develop, reevaluate and develop pre-qualification criteria that will include, encourage, promote and demand that women and youth participation is increased. This was done when local content was being developed and promoted in the industry, and there's no reason why we can't do the same for DEI. And we see that not only from the perspective of hiring and ensuring that they're part of the workforce, but also ensuring that we develop the participants, the contributors to the bottom line of the business as well. So on to your question about my personal journey. I was discussing with the panelists earlier, and I said, one of the things that I realized about myself was I didn't take the risks with my career that I should have taken when the opportunities presented itself. Might have been unique to me, but I suspect that a lot of women also would have had that experience. I find that for women, because we have the extra baggage of family consideration, personal consideration, when opportunities present themselves with regards to our careers, we're not as deliberate in taking those risks. We believe it must fit all the boxes. Is it the right position at the right time, with the right organization, all those boxes. And sometimes opportunities, you have to look into the future and realize that what is not being ticked today can be an opportunity for you tomorrow. And so my encouragement from my personal experience is don't wait until you get that position that ticks all the boxes. You have to be deliberate and intentional with your career. You have to create or reposition some of those boxes to make sure that you get that to that leadership role. I'll give you an example. I now share with folks that when I was offered this position, it was important that I be based in Warri, because that's where our operational base is for OMA 34. And if I had this opportunity 10 years ago, immediately I would have said, Warri? How? Why? Me? I want to be in Lagos. This is, it would have even been a consideration. But now I realize that if it was offered to a male, whether 10 years ago or now, I'm not sure he would think twice about it. For him, it would be, okay, let's go. Move the family or do what needs to be done. And we even have some colleagues who didn't move their families to work. But the point I'm trying to make is for women, we have extra consideration, and sometimes we allow that to limit us. I took the decision without considering, to be honest with all of you. I hope my family members are not listening. I didn't even consider them when I took the position, because at that point I deliberately said, what is right for me? What do I need to do? And when I did my analysis, if I had 6 boxes, this role ticked 5.5. So why let the location, the fact that it was in Warri, pull me back? So to the youths and to other ladies in that position, be deliberate and be intentional about how your career is going to lead to that leadership position. It's not always obvious, but we need to be very, very intentional about it and be the master of your own destiny, so to say.
So if you're running the house, try as much as possible to give your career-wide support so that they will consult you when they want to take a decision. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and take their decision without minding whether you're going to support them or not. I'll keep just on the light okay. So I will just move straight, please. Now, just one minute so we can just get around to us within 1 or 2 minutes so that we can move ahead. So I'll move to Olympic. I know you're managing, like I said, a very huge asset and huge project. And as an operation manager, and there is a lot of young professionals here and women listening to you. What practical step can asset managers take to ensure women and young professionals gain exposure to high impact operational role rather than being confined to support functions?
Thank you very much, Dr. Gwen. I think we've talked a lot today about mentorship, right? But something very powerful is sponsorship. When you walk into rooms where roles are discussed, the opportunities are discussed, you need to be intentional about bringing up the names of those women and young professionals who have demonstrated themselves. So that's very important, because that's where the strengths are made, right? And that's where the names can be called from. Earlier I talked about publicly recognizing females, and I talked about how the Senator motivated a lot of young ladies potential to look up to doing greater things. So it's very important that asset management organizations are intentional about recognizing and publishing the work that women and young professionals have contributed in the business. Another thing is stretch assignments. You talked about ticking all the boxes, really. Typically, for men, they usually don't, but the confidence shows, and they take all the roles. So it's really about assigning women and again young professionals, to stretch assignments and then enabling them and giving them the support structure for them to move on. I like what you do when you talk about policies and PPEs, right? We now have a lot of women, ladies working in the field organization. Talk about the scrabbles and NNH and all that. Have we enabled them? Have we enabled the environment? PPEs, we also had some function on the panel some years ago around how can you make your overalls comfortable for women? Because typically, PPEs are designed with men in mind, right? That's one. And secondly, it's really around the enabling environment. First, we look around support structure for ladies especially. Some years ago, a lot of organizations, including the oil and gas businesses, started introducing crutches in their workplaces to enable women who have babies feel comfortable. You can come to work with a child, drop a child off at crutch, just some few blocks or from few steps away. You know, breastfeeding rooms, you know, where you can go pump and all of that. Really make it comfortable for women to want to continue to participate. That's also very, very important. I think I'll leave it there.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll be rounding up for the revenue. I will just come to you and you will just give us like a roundup because the time is fast spent. She mentioned that we shouldn't only talk about mentorship, we should talk about sponsorship. So you work for Total Energies, and so I will ask, what role do sponsorship and intentional exposure play in ensuring that diverse talent is not just recruited but retained and promoted in the leadership position? Just 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Indeed, mentorship is good. It will provide psychological safety, help you to give you kind of identity support, and even help you to decode unwritten rules, but it doesn't open doors. Mentorships doesn't open doors. What does is sponsorship, like you mentioned. All of them are important in the sense that that's sponsorship, mentorship, international exposure. They're all important and they complement each other. They help to close the gap to see that our women and young people are accelerated and visible. But sponsorship is somebody speaking for you when you're not there. You know, it's somebody advocating for you, which is really important, and bringing you to visibility, providing, you know, bringing you before leadership. And then international exposure brings about gives you a global mindset, helps you to build a network beyond your usual environment, you know, and it makes the leadership trust you because you have worked in another environment, you have adapted to another culture, you've picked up another way of working. You now have an intercultural mindset and ways of working. So it opens doors. All of them are important. So I would say they are all important levers for growth, for visibility, for acceleration, for promotion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we just give a round of applause? This has been very exciting. Can you just wrap it up for us, maybe a few seconds, and what Chevron is doing? I know many women are youth in the energy sector. One of the biggest challenges is not just coming to the company, it's not just entry, but progression into leadership roles. What responsibility do major operators like Chevron have intentionally developed leadership pipelines, and how can industry partnership accelerate this transition from margin to the middle? Please, just wrap it up for us.
Okay, so since I have 1 minute, a lot of the programs I talked about plays a key role. But if I'm going to just laser focus on what we can do as operators to really move us forward, I would still go back to principle, defining what that means. And then the second thing would be ensuring that you're building systems, you're building structures around those principles, ensuring that they're working. The third thing would be leadership. We talked about leadership a little bit today. Ensuring that the leadership is enabling space and creating room for people to lead where they are. That's one thing that made me missing. We keep focusing on leadership as something way there at the top, but things have changed. The way organizations are set up today are changing. They're flatter, so a lot of the opportunities people even had before, they might not have it. It's more functional, more matrix. So how can we use the systems, use the structures to enable youth, people coming up to lead where they are. And the third thing I would say is this multi-stakeholder collaborations, they're really key. Coming in here, learning from everyone here, they amplify that impact. So if we can continue to do that, not just the internal systems that we have, but also looking outside. What are the other networks, sponsorships outside of our immediate environment that we can actually push and support our people so they can grow also?
Thank you very much. Can we clap? Can we put our hands to So this panel session is very exciting for what we can take from here. If you are in a board, if you are in a room, and you know people that are competent, people shouldn't be promoted because they are male. People should be promoted because they are competent, they have the capability to do what is being assigned for them to do. We shouldn't discriminate women in position of authority. They have the capacity to do what a man can also do. Can you clap it for them? Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you some other time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to give you a thank you gift. Before we do that, however, I'd like to ask you to please allow them to take their seat once they get down from the podium, because we're going over to the next panel. You can network with them when we get to lunch. I understand the need to interact with them, but please allow them to take their seat. Chairman, you can please join me on stage, Engineer Wale Ogunsa. He will present a thank you gift to all of you who, by the way, have done a fantastic job. I think gradually the narrative is changing. I think before now, if we gathered the list of heads of agency in this industry before now, it has always been men. And the president has changed that a little bit. And I think the change will continue to impact the industry gradually. I speak, of course, of the CCE of NUPRC. So we're moving in that direction. And she's come into that role, running and flying and continuing on the excellent things being done there upon appointment. So yes, it's changing gradually, we're getting there. Because sometimes when you see the men, they're CEOs of these companies. So when there are more female CEOs, then there'll be a lot of diversity in other panel sessions that we'll have moving forward. Give them another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. All right. The Rubiano is receiving ours. Thank you very much. John will be next. Rubiano, out of curiosity, what does your name mean? Oh my goodness, beauty has come, glory has come. I love it. I thought you'd do something unique and I'm not disappointed. Thank you. Bolanle will be next. Thank you, Bolanle, for your insights.
These dresses have my names.
And Bola will follow. I think after what is said and done, whether you're a man or a woman, you need certain kind of support systems to be around you when you pursue your aspirations in the industry. You really do. Victor, of course, you've got one before. We don't want to clutter your closet, so we want to thank you. But let's present to Mrs. Ayon Fatai Williams. She was our keynote speaker. Please give her one round of applause. Before the ladies take the picture, Mrs. Fatai Williams. Chairman, we're presenting to Mrs. Ayon Fatai Williams, our keynote speaker, before they take the picture. She's coming. Before you take the picture, I want to thank her for setting the tone for this conversation. Yes, please, a round of applause one more time. Thank you very much. But by the way, Bola, one of the reasons why this is important is you're also talking to young people, is true. And if these young people can imbibe what is being said, they can live here in the future, making the right decisions and really allowing DER and take center stage when they assume positions of authority in the future. While you take your seat, Chairman, please, I still need you on stage for a few more seconds. We want to present some awards from yesterday, and I'm sure you are aware of this. First off will be the award I will present to the Managing Director and CEO of the Uganda National Oil Company, who also is a woman, a really amazing